I want to ask you something important today. What if I told you that scientists spent decades tracking over 3,000 individuals who lived healthily past the age of 95 and discovered something remarkable? Their longevity wasn't due to winning some genetic lottery or taking a miracle supplement. Instead, every single one of them consistently followed the same 5 daily habits. Would you be willing to spend the next little while with me to thoroughly understand these 5 habits that could add decades of health, independence, and happiness to your life? Each of these habits is incredibly simple. One of them takes less than 2 minutes a day. And it's precisely this simplest habit that researchers have called the most powerful predictor of reaching 100. In today's video, you'll discover these 5 exact habits. They won't just help you live longer. More importantly, they'll help you maintain mental clarity, physical health, independence, and dignity well into your 90s and beyond. Let me start with a true story. In Phoenix, Arizona, there was a woman named Vivian. At 97 years old, she still drove her own car, cooked her own meals, and could even beat her great-grandchildren at card games without breaking a sweat. When researchers asked her secret to longevity, she smiled and said there really was no secret. She just did the same 5 things every day for over 40 years. What Vivian didn't know was that she had unknowingly followed the exact blueprint scientists would later discover in that landmark longevity study. Now, let me reveal the first habit. Habit 1: 20 minutes of morning movement. Here's something that will surprise you. In this comprehensive study, every single person, that's 100% of these individuals over 95, move their bodies for at least 20 minutes every morning. Now, this might not sound groundbreaking, but here's the key insight. This wasn't some high-intensity training or complex fitness routine. It was simple, sustained physical activity that became as natural and automatic as brushing their teeth every morning. A Harvard Medical School study on aging that spanned over 30 years reached a startling conclusion. Those who consistently engaged in morning activity had a 40% lower risk of premature death compared to those who lived sedentary lifestyles. But why does a bit of morning activity have such incredible power over our lifespan? Let me dig deeper into the fascinating science behind this. First, morning movement jumpstarts your metabolism in ways that last throughout the entire day. When you start moving in the morning, even with something as simple as a walk around the block, your body increases the production of a hormone called irisin. Research from the National Institutes of Health found that irisin promotes fat burning and dramatically improves blood sugar control. Think of it as your body's built-in fat-burning switch. Turn it on every morning, and your energy metabolism becomes significantly more efficient all day long. Second, morning movement provides an instant and lasting boost to your brain function. A groundbreaking study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine showed that just moderate, intensity morning exercise significantly improves cognitive function throughout the entire day. We're talking about better decision making, improved memory, and sharper focus. Here's why this happens. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, flooding your neurons with oxygen and essential nutrients. This brain boost is actually more effective and longer lasting than your first cup of coffee. But there's something even deeper happening here. These 20 minutes represent a form of respect and commitment to your own body. Your body is literally designed to move. When you use the first part of your day to honor this fundamental design, you're sending a powerful message to yourself. You're saying, I care about you. I value you. I'm investing in our future together. This first act of self-responsibility sets the tone for your entire day, making it easier to make other healthy choices as the hours unfold. Let me tell you about Kenneth from Tampa. At 78, he simply made it a point to walk to his mailbox every day to get the mail. That was it. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. But something remarkable happened. By 85, he was walking a full mile every day through his community, greeting neighbors and feeling more energetic than he had in years. But here's where most people get tripped up. There's a very common and damaging misconception about exercise. Many people believe that physical activity must be intense, must involve sweating buckets, must leave you sore the next day, otherwise it doesn't count. This idea is not only completely wrong, but for those seeking long-term health and longevity, it can actually be harmful. Let me clarify something crucial. What this longevity study emphasizes is movement, not exercise. There's a fundamental difference that could change your entire approach to physical activity. Intense exercise aims to push your physical limits in short, often grueling bursts. Daily movement, on the other hand, aims for long-term, sustainable maintenance of your body's natural functions. Why is the must-be intense and sweaty mentality such a dangerous misconception? First, it creates an unnecessarily high barrier to entry. The thought of spending an hour grinding it out at the gym or running until you're breathless makes many people, especially our older friends, psychologically recoil. They think, I'm too tired today, I'll do it tomorrow. The weather's not good, maybe another day. This perfectionist, all-or-nothing mentality is precisely what prevents people from sticking with any routine long-term. And remember, the centenarian's secret lies precisely in consistency, not intensity. Second, this approach dramatically increases your risk of injury. Inappropriate high-intensity exercise can easily lead to joint wear, muscle strains, and other setbacks. One injury could sideline you for weeks or even months, undoing all your previous efforts and potentially creating a lasting fear of movement. Third, excessive exercise places unnecessary and harmful stress on your body. Over-exercising can chronically elevate cortisol levels, that's your stress hormone. Long-term elevated cortisol can actually accelerate the aging process and weaken your immune system. You end up working against your longevity goals. So remember this important distinction. The first secret to longevity isn't about becoming a fitness fanatic. It's about becoming a consistent mover. The beauty of morning movement is its incredible accessibility. You don't need expensive equipment or a gym membership. Your own body weight and the space around your home are all you need to get started. You can march in place while watching the morning news. You can do some gentle stretches right beside your bed. You can take a slow walk around your neighborhood. Even diligently cleaning a room counts as beneficial movement that gets your blood flowing and your muscles working. The key isn't intensity, it's consistency. Now, let me share something that might motivate you even more. Here's what happens to our bodies as we age if we don't actively move them. After age 30, we naturally lose between 3% and 80% of our muscle mass every single decade. After 60, this rate of muscle loss accelerates dramatically. This muscle loss isn't just about looking weaker. It directly leads to physical weakness, increased risk of falls, higher likelihood of fractures, and ultimately, the gradual loss of independence. These are precisely the culprits that steal away our quality of life in our later years. The good news: this process is largely preventable through consistent daily movement. So please, don't wait another day. Starting tomorrow morning, set your alarm just 20 minutes earlier. Before you check your phone, before you turn on the news, before you do anything else, invest these precious 20 minutes in your body and your future. Remember, your future self depends entirely on the choices you make today. Habit 2. One meaningful social interaction every day. Here's another finding that genuinely surprised the scientists conducting this study. Not a single centenarian spent their days in complete isolation. Every single day, without exception, they had at least one meaningful interaction with another human being. Initially, researchers expected genes or diet to be the primary deciding factors in longevity. But they discovered that social connection, this seemingly simple habit, was equally important as any physical health indicator they measured. The research from Johns Hopkins University reveals a sobering truth about isolation. Social isolation increases a person's risk of death by 50%. To put this in perspective, this risk is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes every single day or being severely obese. But why does loneliness have such a devastating impact on our health and lifespan? The biology behind this is fascinating and alarming. A comprehensive study from the University of Chicago found that chronic loneliness actually alters how genes are expressed in our immune cells. It suppresses the genes that help us fight off viruses and other threats, while activating genes that promote harmful inflammation throughout the body. In other words, loneliness literally makes your body more susceptible to illness and disease. There's more. A long-term study conducted by the Mayo Clinic indicates that people with strong, consistent social networks have a significantly lower risk of cognitive decline and dementia as they age. Why? Because every sincere conversation is like a complex workout for your brain. Think about what happens when you engage with another person. You have to process language, interpret facial expressions and social cues, recall relevant memories, and engage in sophisticated reasoning. This mental stimulation helps maintain and strengthen your brain's neural pathways. It can even increase the volume of brain regions specifically associated with memory and learning. But here's where most people misunderstand social connection. Many people hear the word social and immediately think, I'm introverted, I don't like crowds, I'm not good at making friends. Or they believe socializing means having hundreds of friends, attending countless parties, or having thousands of contacts on their phone. This is a huge misunderstanding that prevents many people from reaping the longevity benefits of human connection. The key finding in this research wasn't about the quantity of social connections. It was about the quality. Not breadth, but depth. Not how lively your social life appears, but how meaningful your connections actually are. Consider this. Someone with 1,000 social media friends, but no one they can truly confide in might have far lower quality social connections than an elderly person who simply chats with a neighbor for 10 minutes each day. Let me clear up these common misconceptions about social connection and longevity. First, meaningful interaction absolutely does not equal large gatherings or parties. For many people, noisy, crowded environments are actually draining rather than energizing. A one-on-one, sincere, heartfelt conversation, even for just 15 minutes, provides far more mental and emotional nourishment than 3 hours of surface-level socializing at a crowded event. Second, being introverted is absolutely not a barrier to building the social connections that support longevity. In fact, introverts are often naturally better at the kind of deep, authentic communication that truly matters for health. You don't need to force yourself to become extroverted. You just need to find 1 or 2 connection points where you feel comfortable and safe, whether that's family members, old friends, or like-minded neighbors. That's genuinely enough. Third, socializing isn't limited to talking. Engaging in shared activities can be equally powerful for building connection. Playing chess together, taking walks together, working on crafts or hobbies together, or even quietly watching a movie side by side counts as high-quality social interaction. What matters is that sense of being understood, accepted, and accompanied by another person. The centenarians in this study weren't necessarily social butterflies or the life of every party. They simply made sure they had at least one genuine, authentic interaction with another human being every single day. This might be as simple as a phone call to family, a conversation with a neighbor over the fence, participating in a community event, or even having a friendly exchange with a store clerk or mail carrier. What's crucial is the consistency and authenticity of these connections. Let me tell you about Beverly in Ohio. For over 20 years without fail, she calls a family member every day at exactly 3 p.m. She rotates weekly among her children, grandchildren, and siblings, making sure to stay connected with her entire extended family. Beverly says these daily calls keep her mind sharp and her spirit joyful, even when she's faced difficult times like losing her husband and dealing with various health challenges. Here's what happens in your body when you engage in positive social interactions. Your brain releases a powerful substance called oxytocin, often called the love hormone or cuddle hormone. This remarkable chemical effectively reduces stress hormones, lowers blood pressure, and enhances feelings of happiness, trust, and belonging. It's like a natural antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication combined. So starting today, make a commitment. Don't let a single day pass in complete isolation. Send a text message to a friend you haven't contacted in a while. Make a phone call to a family member you've been meaning to reach out to. Or simply initiate a friendly chat with someone during your daily routine. The barista at your coffee shop, a neighbor, or someone you see regularly. If mobility is an issue, modern technology offers wonderful alternatives. Video calls, social media interactions, or joining online communities centered around your interests can provide meaningful connection from the comfort of your home. Remember, your longevity truly depends, to a remarkable extent, on your ability to maintain and nurture these human connections throughout your life. Habit 1. Daily brain challenging activity. Here's the third habit that every single centenarian in the study practiced without exception. They exercised their brains daily with something new, different, or intellectually challenging. Now, this doesn't mean they were all scholars or held advanced degrees. It simply means that throughout their long lives, they kept their brains active, engaged, and perpetually curious about the world around them. Research from the prestigious Mayo Clinic on something called cognitive reserve shows that people who frequently challenge their thinking can build a protective layer against age-related cognitive decline and dementia. Think of these mental challenges as strength training specifically for your brain. Just like physical exercise builds stronger muscles, mental exercise builds stronger, more resilient neural pathways. This process is known in neuroscience as neuroplasticity. your brain's remarkable ability to reorganize and adapt throughout your entire life. Neuroscientists at Harvard Medical School have found that learning new skills, whether it's a new language, a musical instrument, or even a new hobby, can physically change your brain's structure. These activities increase gray matter density and create entirely new neural connections. Even more exciting, this daily mental activity promotes something called neurogenesis, the growth of brand new brain cells. This is a process that scientists once thought was impossible in adult brains, but we now know continues throughout our lives when we give our brains the right stimulation. But here's the most common misconception about brain health that prevents many people from getting these benefits. Many people think brain training means doing things that look smart or academic, like solving complex puzzles, playing sophisticated brain games, or memorizing mathematical constants. If they can't do these things easily or find them boring, they simply give up. This narrow thinking makes brain health seem far too intimidating and exclusive. The real secret of effective brain training lies in novelty and appropriate challenge, not complexity or showing off intelligence. Any activity that gently pushes you outside your comfort zone, that requires you to learn something new or solve an unfamiliar problem, counts as excellent brain exercise. Let me clear up these misconceptions about keeping your brain healthy. First, brain training definitely isn't limited to solving puzzles or playing games. While puzzles and brain games can be helpful, they're far from the only effective options. Learning a new recipe and following the steps carefully is actually an excellent brain workout. It involves reading comprehension, sequential memory, fine motor coordination, timing, and creative problem solving all at once. Second, effective brain training isn't about rote memorization. Pure memorization activities, like remembering long lists of numbers or facts, have surprisingly limited benefits for overall brain health. Much more valuable are activities that require you to integrate information from different sources and think creatively about solutions. For example, trying a new route to the grocery store forces your brain to create new spatial maps and navigate unfamiliar territory. Having a respectful discussion with someone who holds different political or philosophical views challenges your logic, reasoning skills, and cognitive flexibility in powerful ways. Third, training your brain is inseparable from training your body. Remember that morning movement we talked about earlier? That's actually one of the very best brain activities you can do. Multiple studies show that aerobic exercise increases production of a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. Scientists often call this fertilizer for the brain because it promotes the growth and survival of neurons while protecting against age-related decline. So please, don't overcomplicate brain training or make it feel like homework. The activities chosen by the elderly participants in this study varied widely and were often quite enjoyable. Some read newspapers and books daily. Others did crossword puzzles or played card games with friends. Many were still actively learning completely new skills well into their 90s. Let me tell you about Arthur in Denver. At 89 years old, Arthur decided to learn how to use a tablet computer. His grandchildren were amazed as he gradually mastered video calling, email, and even began helping them with their homework over video chat. Arthur says learning this new technology not only keeps his mind sharp, but has brought him closer to his family than ever before. The key to successful brain training is choosing activities that genuinely interest you and provide just the right amount of challenge. You want to feel engaged and stimulated without becoming frustrated or stressed. Starting today, commit to spending at least 15 minutes daily on an activity that challenges your thinking in some way. This could be reading books or articles about topics that interest you, learning something completely new, or having meaningful conversations about current events or ideas. You might try learning a few words of a foreign language using a smartphone app. You could practice mental math while doing everyday activities. You might challenge yourself with strategy games like chess, bridge, or even modern video games that require planning and problem solving. Consider taking up a new hobby that involves learning: photography, gardening, cooking, music, or crafts. Join a book club or discussion group. Take a community college class on a subject you've always been curious about. Your brain, just like your body, needs regular exercise to stay strong and healthy. Start challenging it today to maintain the sharp thinking that makes life interesting, independent, and fulfilling. Habit 4: a daily practice of gratitude and purpose. Here's what surprised researchers more than anything else in this comprehensive study. 100% of the participants had some form of daily ritual involving reflection, gratitude, or sense of purpose. This wasn't necessarily a religious requirement or formal meditation practice. It was simply a consistent, daily habit of actively noticing and acknowledging good things in their lives while maintaining a clear sense of why their life had meaning. Research from the Harvard Th. Chan School of Public Health reveals the remarkable health benefits of regular gratitude practice. People who consistently practice gratitude have significantly lower rates of heart disease, better sleep quality, stronger immune systems, and live an average of 7 years longer than those who primarily focus on life's problems and disappointments. What's the actual science behind this seemingly simple practice? Fascinating research from the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley shows that gratitude practices directly influence brain activity in measurable ways. Regular gratitude increases activity in brain regions associated with positive emotions, empathy, and social connection. At the same time, it reduces activity in the amygdala, which is your brain's alarm system for stress and threat detection. Gratitude literally rewires your brain over time, making it naturally more inclined to notice positive experiences while building greater resilience against stress, anxiety, and adversity. But here's a crucial misconception that prevents many people from experiencing these benefits. Many people confuse gratitude with blind optimism or positive thinking. They think practicing gratitude means pretending problems don't exist or forcing yourself to be cheerful when you're genuinely struggling. This is a superficial understanding that misses the profound wisdom of true gratitude. Authentic gratitude isn't about denying reality or pretending difficulties don't exist. Quite the opposite. It's a deeper form of wisdom. It's the ability to acknowledge that life naturally contains challenges, disappointments, and genuine hardships while simultaneously recognizing and cherishing the beautiful, meaningful parts that coexist with those difficulties. Let me clarify these common misconceptions about gratitude and purpose. First, gratitude is definitely not self-deception or denial. You can be genuinely annoyed by chronic joint pain while simultaneously feeling grateful for a beautiful sunrise you witnessed that morning. These two experiences aren't mutually exclusive. Gratitude isn't about suppressing negative emotions when they arise naturally. Instead, it's about not allowing those negative emotions to completely consume your awareness and perspective. When you practice gratitude, you're opening a window to let light into a room that might otherwise be dominated by darkness. Second, effective gratitude practice is not about comparison with others. Many people feel their lives are too difficult or chaotic to find anything worth appreciating, because they're constantly comparing themselves to others who seem to have it easier. But the gratitude practiced by centenarians is deeply personal and often quite subtle. They might feel grateful for a warm cup of tea on a cold morning, for taking a breath without difficulty, for a child's laughter, or for the comfort of their own bed after a long day. True gratitude looks inward toward your own direct experience rather than outward toward social comparisons. Third, having a sense of purpose is really an extension of gratitude in action. Research consistently finds that older adults with a clear sense of life purpose, whether that's tending to their garden, calling their grandchild every week, finishing a book they've always wanted to write, or volunteering in their community, have significantly lower risk of mortality from all causes. Why is this? Because a sense of purpose gives genuine meaning to daily life. It provides you with compelling reasons to overcome difficulties and genuine motivation to look forward to tomorrow. Purpose transforms you from a passive person who simply endures what happens an ever-active creator who shapes their experience and contributes something valuable to the world. Let me tell you about Shirley in Michigan. Every morning for the past 15 years, before she even gets out of bed, Shirley writes down one thing she feels grateful for in a small notebook she keeps on her nightstand. She records simple daily pleasures, a particularly beautiful sunrise, a phone call from a loved one, the comfort of her warm bed, or even just the fact that she slept peacefully through the night. Shirley says this simple habit has helped her maintain optimism and emotional resilience, even when facing significant health challenges and the deep grief of losing her husband and several close friends. Her sense of purpose comes from maintaining this practice and sharing what she's learned about gratitude with others in her community. Starting this very morning, before you get out of bed, take just a moment to identify 3 things you feel genuinely grateful for, or that give your upcoming day a sense of meaning and purpose. You could keep a gratitude journal by your bed and write down one good thing that happened each day before you go to sleep. Throughout your day, make it a point to say thank you more frequently, both to others and silently to yourself, for small moments of beauty or comfort you notice. You might also spend time reflecting on what gives your life meaning. This doesn't have to be grandiose. It might be as simple as taking good care of a pet, maintaining relationships with family members, pursuing a hobby that brings you joy, or contributing to your community in whatever way feels natural to you. This simple daily practice costs absolutely nothing but could add not just years to your life, but genuine happiness and meaning to those additional years. Habit 532, Minute Bedtime Ritual. Now we come to the final habit, and researchers called it the most powerful predictor of reaching 100 years old. Every single person over 95 in this study had developed and maintained a consistent pre-sleep routine that helped them achieve high-quality sleep night after night, year after year. This isn't about sleeping for longer hours. It's about sleeping better, deeper, and more consistently. Research from the Centers for Disease Control confirms that high-quality sleep is when our bodies perform the most critical repair and maintenance work. Let me help you understand just how remarkable this nightly repair process really is. When you enter the deeper stages of sleep, your brain activates something called the glymphatic system. Think of this as your brain's sophisticated nighttime cleaning crew. This system efficiently clears out metabolic waste products that naturally accumulate in your brain during waking hours. This includes removing beta-amyloid protein, which is closely linked to Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. Research from the National Sleep Foundation confirms something alarming. Long-term lack of quality deep sleep allows these toxic proteins to build up in brain tissue, significantly increasing your risk of cognitive decline as you age. But that's not all that happens during quality sleep. Your body releases large amounts of growth hormone during deep sleep phases. This hormone is absolutely crucial for tissue repair, maintaining muscle mass, and supporting your immune system's ability to fight off infections and diseases. During deep sleep, your immune system also produces specialized cells and antibodies specifically designed to identify and eliminate threats to your health. This is exactly why rested people get sick less often and recover much faster when they do become ill. Yet here's the biggest misconception about sleep that prevents most people from getting these life-extending benefits. Most people think, I'm tired from my busy day, so I'll naturally fall asleep when my head hits the pillow tonight. This is a passive, leave-it-to-chance approach that rarely works well long-term. The centenarians in this study treated sleep proactively and intentionally. They didn't just wait for sleep to come to them. They actively created the optimal environment and mental state for restorative sleep to occur. Let me clear up these dangerous misconceptions about sleep and longevity. First, many people wrongly equate physical fatigue with sleepiness. Your body might feel tired and drained from the day's activities, but your brain could still be highly active, churning through the day's events, worries about tomorrow, or random thoughts that prevent you from entering true, restorative deep sleep. This is exactly why many people can feel exhausted even after spending 8 or 9 hours in bed. A proper bedtime ritual helps signal to your brain that it's time to switch from active day mode into restorative night mode. Second, the common habit of scrolling through your phone when you can't fall asleep is like taking medicine that makes your problem worse. The blue light emitted by smartphones, tablets, televisions, and computer screens directly suppresses your brain's production of melatonin. Melatonin is the crucial hormone that signals to your entire body that it's time to prepare for sleep. Using these devices before bed is essentially like shouting at your brain, "Hey, wake up. It's still daytime. Stay alert," at the exact moment when you're trying to wind down for rest. Third, the idea that you can catch up on sleep during weekends cannot truly repay the sleep debt you accumulate during the week. Our bodies depend on a stable, predictable biological clock called the circadian rhythm. Irregular sleep schedules completely disrupt this delicate internal timing system. It's like having a precision clock that you randomly speed up or slow down every few days. Eventually, the entire system becomes chaotic and unreliable. The key to this life-extending habit is consistency combined with treating sleep preparation as a health priority that's just as important as exercise or good nutrition. Not something you only think about when you're completely exhausted. Let me tell you about Walter in Seattle. For over 30 years, Walter has set an alarm for his bedtime, not just his wake-up time. He treats his sleep preparation routine like an important appointment that cannot be missed or postponed. Walter says this simple change transformed not just his sleep quality, but his energy, mood, and mental sharpness during his waking hours. Creating an effective bedtime ritual can be surprisingly simple and doesn't require expensive equipment or complicated techniques. Starting tonight, establish a fixed bedtime that allows for 7 to 8 hours of sleep before you need to wake up. At least 30 minutes before this bedtime, turn off all screens, phones, computers, televisions, tablets. Dim the lights throughout your house to signal to your brain that day is ending. During this wind-down period, engage in something calm and genuinely relaxing. This might be reading a few pages from a book you enjoy, doing gentle stretches or yoga poses, listening to soft music, or practicing simple breathing exercises. Make sure your bedroom environment supports quality sleep. Keep it cool. Most sleep experts recommend between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Make it as dark as possible using blackout curtains or an eye mask. Minimize noise with earplugs, a white noise machine, or a quiet fan. Avoid large meals, caffeine, alcohol, or stimulating conversations right before bed. Each of these can interfere with your ability to fall asleep quickly or stay in deep sleep throughout the night. You might create a simple bedtime checklist that becomes automatic over time. Lay out clothes for tomorrow to reduce morning stress. Do a few gentle stretches to release physical tension. Read a page or two from an inspiring book. Write down 3 things you're grateful for from the day. Most importantly, transform your bedroom into what sleep specialists call a sanctuary. A space dedicated solely to rest and recovery, not work, entertainment, or worry. The goal is to train your body and brain to recognize these consistent cues that sleep time is approaching, making it easier to transition into deep, restorative rest night after night. Your path to extraordinary longevity starts today, friends. These 5 habits we've explored together today: morning movement, daily social connection, brain challenges, gratitude and purpose, and a consistent bedtime ritual. They represent far more than simple health tips. These are the fundamental building blocks of a life well lived, a life that doesn't just last longer, but remains vibrant, independent, and meaningful well into your 90s and beyond. These aren't complex secrets available only to the wealthy or genetically fortunate. They don't require expensive investments, special equipment, or dramatic lifestyle overhauls. They are simple, daily choices that compound over time to create extraordinary results. The 3,000 elderly individuals in this groundbreaking study didn't win any genetic lottery. They weren't blessed with perfect health from birth. They simply made wise, consistent daily decisions that supported their long-term health, happiness, and independence day after day, year after year, decade after decade. You have that exact same power starting right now today. Your body, your brain, and your future self will thank you profoundly for every small, consistent choice you make in support of these life-extending habits. The remarkable beauty of these 5 habits lies in their accessibility and simplicity. Anyone, regardless of your current health status, financial situation, or living circumstances, can begin implementing them immediately. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do everything at once. Pick one habit that resonates most strongly with you and commit to it for the next week. Once that feels natural and automatic, add another. Small, consistent actions create lasting transformation far more effectively than dramatic changes that burn out quickly. Remember, the difference between merely surviving and truly thriving in your later years may well come down to these 5 simple daily practices. Your future depends entirely on the choices you make starting today. The clock is ticking for all of us, but you now have the knowledge and tools to make every day count toward a longer, healthier, more fulfilling life. Start today. Your 95-year-old self is counting on the decisions you make right now.